Hi everyone, I'm Scott Davenport. This video is part of a series on Luminar 3 to help you get up and running fast with the software. In this video, we're going to look at some of the more advanced techniques for editing your photos. I'm going to choose this photo here of a garden in Tokyo. I'll send this over into the Edit module. And to give myself a little more space to work, I've turned off the looks and I'm going to hide also the film strip, so I can just concentrate on my photo. Now I'll begin with the basics. I like my quick and awesome area, and I'm going to bring up this accent filter. Notice the sky enhancer is disabled. There's not a significant sky in this photo. The filter realizes that and turns itself off. There's no benefit for adjusting a sky enhancer without a sky. Add a little more saturation and a touch of vibrance, some clarity. Now, because I want to do a more advanced editing on this, there's some things that the Accent AI filter isn't doing for me that I want to do creatively. And one of those things is adjusting hues. I'm going to add the HSL filter right down here in the professional area. And I want to take the yellows and shift those more toward green. That has a nice effect of increasing the greens in a photo. A lot of times yellow tones shifted toward green. There's a lot of yellows in our green tones. Making those more green makes our greens pop. One other thing I'd like to do is decrease the exposure on the shadows. And so I think instead I'll use the highlights and shadows utility filter and take the shadows in a darker direction. And this is going to affect the trees and the shadowy areas between the leaves. You know, it's a way of adding more contrast. I'm really just targeting it toward the shadow areas, and we can hide that before and after. That looks really cool. So I'm pretty happy with the base of the photo now. And the next thing I'll do is add a new adjustment layer and do some more creative glow looks on this particular scene. So at the very top here, we have a layers panel, and you can add multiple layers. So I can add a whole new set of adjustments. You can even bring in a new image if you want it to blend two images together. I'll add a new adjustment layer. And notice my workspace is empty now. So I have a clean slate as far as the filters that I'll be working with. Any of the filters that I add from this point forward are only part of this upper adjustment layer. All of the other changes I have are still here on my base layer. And we can also rename these layers as well by double clicking on them. I'm going to call this a glow because I know that's what I'm going to add. I find the Orton effect right here and start increasing that so I get that nice dreamy type of glow to the scene. Somewhere around there. Maybe make the brightness a bit higher just for a little airiness. Contrast feels good and saturation feels good. The last thing I want to change is going to be some masking to really fine-tune this, because I don't want the shadows to glow and the trees to lose their texture. Now, that's not really natural. Like, light areas glow, shadows don't. So what I can do is in the glow layer, so this will affect all filters in the layer. I only have the one. Choose the brush, click luminosity, and then turn on my brush mode. If I move over into the toolbar here and I turn on the mask, there's quite an intricate mask that got created. Anything that has red on it, the Orton glow is being applied. And anything that is not as strong a red, like kind of faded or completely dark, like on the undersides of these trees, there's no glow being applied. And I can adjust this from here. I can erase more of the look. I'm going to lower my opacity of my brush to in the neighborhood of, say, 30. And I just want to work my way through this main foreground tree to further remove some of that Orton look from this tree. So I don't want my tree to be overly glowing, but I do want all that backdrop to be nice and glowing. Work my way through this here. And perhaps a little, this one's already looking pretty good. See how dark color that is? There's very little of the Orton effect that's being applied there. That is courtesy of the luminosity mask. Luminosity masks are just masks. They are just based and built for you automatically by Luminar using the tones that are in the image. Do one more time through there. I'll turn off the mask and we'll say done. Now we can see the difference that this glow adjustment layer is making. I can turn off that layer and see the backdrop where the greens are a little more crisp again and not as light and airy. I'll turn that on, and now it's got this nice, airy look to it. And we can further adjust that with the sliders now. And this mask that is on our adjustment layer is being honored. So as I push this slider really far, you'll see that glow is really happening only in the background and in the greens. We'll keep it somewhere in the neighborhood of 45 looks good. The number is not important, it's the look on the photo that matters. But that's an example of a more advanced workflow where you're picking and choosing the filters, and in some cases stacking multiple layers and doing some masking work. Let's look at the before and after for that. So that's what we had originally. That's what we have as a result. Luminar 3 has some very deep photo editing capabilities. You can use the quick and awesome workspace or the built-in looks that are in Luminar to get your photos started, and sometimes that's all you need. For other photos where you want to go deeper, start crafting the different filters, adding your own signature look to it, you've got all that capability in Luminar 3. My name's Scott Davenport. Thanks very much for watching the video.